So, we're going to talk a bit about burnout and specifically burnout making product reviews or in the Amazon influencer program. I just kind of want to give my definition of what burnout is, and then I'll let my brother Tyler talk for a bit on if he agrees or disagrees. But for me, I've been kind of thinking about this lately because I think I might be in kind of a definition of burnout. One definition I would say is working hard and not seeing results to the point where you don't have any desire to keep working. So that would be, I think, my base definition of burnout. But I would also say there's kind of a flip to that, which is what I'm experiencing now, where I I was on vacation for 3 months, and I took a couple weeks to do product reviews. But other than those 2 weeks, I didn't do anything at all. But I still continue to earn money, and now I have no desire to start working again. Like, it's been really difficult for me to have the motivation to do any work because I'm still making money. So that's probably a better version of burnout, but I think it is kind of burnout. Like, I haven't had any desire to work. So I'm curious, Tyler, what you would add to that. And before I have you talk, I just want to point out that the rest of this video, I compiled a list of questions about burnout that we're going to talk about and go over together. But I would be curious, Tyler, if your definition of burnout is any different than mine.
No, so it's interesting because burnout, if we look at it fundamentally, when a fire burns out, it takes time. It grows and it builds. You build a fire, and then it slowly gets smaller, and then you've got your embers and your coals. The fire's not completely out, but you're not seeing flames anymore. And I think that's kind of the space where you're at now, where things are still working. It's still hot, but the flames are gone, and you're not building. You're not putting more wood on the fire, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's where we're often so burnout is something I think about a lot. I actually wrote a book last year called Dancing in the Classroom. I brought it. I'm pimping out my own book. Here we go.
Nice.
Dancing in the Class. It's about teacher burnout. And I'm a teacher, and this is one of our biggest problems in education is we have teachers who have the right why. Like they want to be public servants, they want to make a difference in the world, but they get into the profession and realize they're overworked, underpaid, underappreciated, and that's fine for the first few years, but then it builds on you and it builds on you, and people are like, why are you doing this? And then you start thinking, why am I doing this? I'm not getting paid enough. Like, this is stupid. And so often people leave the profession. And I think with anything in life, we've been doing product reviews for a number of years, and for the first few years it's great, we're making more money, it's fun, it's exciting, but it gets to a point where it kind of stagnates and we're not putting wood on the fire anymore. And I think yeah, that's where I'm at with burnout. That's the visual that I have in my mind is an actual fire.
Well, I've never even taken the time to process that, like, the term burnout. That is interesting, and I like that visual. With that, let's go to the first question, and I'll just point out, I have other questions on my computer. You'll see them on the screen. Tyler, he he's gonna have to wait until I read it before he knows what it is. So he doesn't know these questions, but I'll go ahead and read the first one, which is, what do you do when you've been uploading consistently but you're not seeing the results you expected? I'll let you start with this one.
Now, this one's tricky because this is part burnout, but part nature of the program. If we're talking specifically about Amazon Influencer, because it used to be that you would upload videos and we had more data on what was working and what wasn't, but they took that away. So now it's frustration
Well,
because we're not sure,
and
right?
it also used to be a way long time ago, any video you did, you're almost definitely gonna make money on. So you can just pump out videos and make money.
Right. So back to the question though, what happens when you feel like you've been working hard over a consistent period of time, and that's going to be different for some people. I've heard from a lot of people, I'm just not getting results. And I ask them, how many videos have you made? 7. Yeah, you're not going to get results on 7 videos, right? Talk to me when you have 700. But for me, if for example, so my benchmark kind of is 25 videos a month. That's kind of what I shoot for. And if I've done 25 videos a month for 6 months and my earnings go down every month, I'm going to be frustrated and experiencing that kind of burnout that they're talking about here. In that situation, I feel like you have two choices. You can figure out what's wrong, which is hard with lack of reporting, but you can try different things. You can talk to people. And I was in this situation last year. I talked to McKay and created a new strategy for 2026 where I increased the quality of my videos. I put a greater focus on creator connections and YouTube and didn't do as many videos, but the videos I've done, I'm working harder on. Now, my earnings have actually continued to go down because of different things in the program, but I feel like I'm actually experiencing more success on the things that I'm focusing on, right? I feel like those things are working, and long term, I feel like they're going to be helpful. And so, if you feel like you're just frustrated and experience burnout, I think you can shift directions, try something new, um, or you can quit. And if you really haven't given it a real effort, quitting might be the right thing.
Well, I kind of want to add a little bit to what you just said. I think the main thing is if you are being consistent and you're not seeing the results that you want or expect, the answer really is you got to change something up. You need to either do better research or do better videos or change your videos, change your style. That's simply what it comes down to. But I also want to say one thing I think is important. If you're uploading consistently and you're having a blast, you're having a great time, you're loving it, it, it might not even matter if you change. I think this is more specifically though, with burnout is you're not having a good time. You're not enjoying it. You're making videos for the sake of making videos or trying to make money. I think if you're experiencing burnout in that way, then you do need to find a way to make it fun for you. And I think we've both experienced this. I think for both of us, is doing product reviews is not as fun as it used to be. And so we do need to find more creative ways to enjoy it. And like one thing for me is sponsored videos. I enjoy making a video more when I'm getting paid up front, or just finding something to review that you're excited about, even though you may not make money on it, I think is one good thing that you could do.
I
Uh,
think when you say excited about, I want to just put this out there. I don't know if I've ever loved doing product review videos or been excited about creating product review videos. I like the results. I like the money that comes from it. I like setting goals, but the actual filming a video, doing research on it, like that's always been a job or a chore to me. It's not something I've ever looked forward to, but it's the stuff around it that can make it exciting. And I think that's true of so many things in life.
well, let me ask you this, because when I think about my own thing, like if someone was going to send you a $2,000 electric bike that was like dual motor, could go 40 miles an hour, would you be excited about something like that?
Honestly, a few years ago, probably more so than now, I don't get as excited because it's stuff. And I'm at a stage in my life where I don't need more stuff. If it was something I wanted, I would get it by now. And so I would, part of me would be excited and I'd definitely be excited about the money, but part of me would be dreading. I'm like, I have to make a really good video for this thing.
Do
So
do
I'd
you
have mixed
think do you
emotions.
think there are any products that you would actually be excited to review?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay,
If somebody sent me a box of 1985 Topps baseball cards, I would be excited.
okay, so there are things out there that you could review that would be exciting even if you're not gonna make money off of it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's definitely stuff out there I would review for free in a second.
Okay. Well, and I think maybe just looking for stuff like that or opportunities like that. Like for me, like I always write to companies that make mini PCs in hopes that I can review them. But like I love reviewing mini PCs even if I know I'm not going to make money, which is the case most of the time. But let's move on to the next question, which is how long should you keep pushing when you're working really hard but your earnings aren't increasing? I think this is pretty similar to what we've just talked about. I'll talk about this first, but I don't think it should be, well, this is kinda tricky. Because we've talked about this in other videos. Like if you put a video on YouTube up, it might be a year or two before you start getting money off of that. And on Amazon, I don't think it's quite the same, but I've seen the same thing happen where I've made a video, thought it was really good, didn't make any money, and then 2 or 3 months later, it starts making money. So I think if we're just talking uh, a point in time, I think if you really want to see if the Amazon influencer program or doing product review videos is going to work for you, I think you do need to give it a solid 3 or 4 months to know how to do things, know what you like, just kind of get the feel for things. Like if it's something you think you would enjoy, I think about 3 or 4 months is at least the amount of time you should give. I don't know. I don't know if that's a good answer. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, let me move this framework on this a little bit. So, I'm a college professor, and our expectation is that kids will come for 4 years and not get paid. In fact, they're paying for 4 years to develop skills and knowledge, right?
Sure.
And for the social benefits and the other things. I there's a lot to say about the college experience, and that's a
Right.
different topic.
Yeah.
But really, in those 4 years, your first 2 years are generals, and your next 2 years are your specializing. And so, really, for 2 years as a full time job, you are not getting anything back. You're just learning and growing. And, people like Mr. Beast will say, do 100 videos and get marginally better with each video. And after 100 videos where you get better, you're not seeing results, then it's time to change and move on. I think the reality is somewhere between that extreme, and I think one work, what, no, I can say words,
You can speak.
1 week of full-time work, which is 40 hours, that would be my minimum. If you work full-time for a week and you're not seeing any results at all or any improvement or developing any skills, then it's time to make some major adjustments.
Yeah, well, I like how you kind of related that to education because you could do the same thing for a corporate job. I think most people would say if you're starting a new job, give it some time. Now, there are some
Mhm.
jobs where after a day, like it's just not going to work for you. And if that's the case with doing product reviews and like you can't stand doing it, yeah, it's not for you. But if you get some enjoyment out of doing it, if you think it would be a fun job, yeah, I think stick it out for a while and see how it goes.
I think that also there's an opportunity anytime you're new at something to establish a baseline. I know with so I've observed thousands of teachers over the years, whether they're student teachers or college professors. And often they come to me very frustrated because they get their first year's evaluations back and they're like, I'm the worst teacher ever. I tanked on everything. And usually my response is, what a blessing that is, because now that's your baseline. So
Mm,
next year you can see what kind of growth and progress you make.
it's a great
I'm
point.
coaching my daughter's cross country team or helping out with the team right now. And I have a kid that joined this summer. He's never done anything athletic in his life and he's frustrated every practice. And I think, what an opportunity now to establish a baseline, because a year from now you're going to be a lot faster, right? It's sticking with it. And if you quit, you're not going to see the growth. But if all you do is show up for a year, you're going to be better.
That's a great point. Yeah, stick with it for a while in order to see improvement. Yeah. Okay, next question. Have you ever gotten to the point where you don't even want to look at your Amazon earnings anymore? I would say, and I bet most people are the same way. When your earnings are going up, you're going to be checking your earnings a lot. When they're going down, it's depressing and you're going to check them a lot less. I don't know if I have anything more to add on that. What are your thoughts?
Exactly the same. When they're going up, I check them first thing in the morning every day. In fact, it affected my sleep where I was waking up early just to check stats. And I'm grateful that things are declining, even if it's gradual, because I can go weeks without checking and I'm okay. I feel like the bigger issue is checking all the time than not ever checking at all.
I will say, because we're both kind of at this point, the more you do this, the more consistency you'll see. And when I check my earnings, they're not I'm not seeing these huge peaks and valleys like a lot of people do when they're first starting out. And I think that helps me some. when I have really bad days, it doesn't bother me as much because I know probably the next day or the day after that it's going to be just fine. So if you're in a position where it's depressing to check how much money you're earning, just know with more consistency, I think it gets better. Next question. What happens when the thing that used to be exciting, finding products, filming videos, checking sales, starts feeling like a chore? Okay, I'm going to talk about this because I am here right now. I'll just give a little bit of background in history. I started doing product reviews about 10 years ago because our other brother, my little brother, he
He's
told me
really
that
little.
he very little he got something for free to review, and that blew my mind. I'm like, wait, a company sent you something for free, and all you had to do was review it? So I am very I've always been a sucker for free stuff. I'm very frugal. I don't like to spend money. So for a few years, that drove me because I'm like, hey, if people send me free stuff, I can use this at my house or I can just play with it or whatever. That was really exciting. And then it became exciting when it was new things, like something I haven't reviewed before. That was exciting. Um, I have reviewed just about everything I can think of. It's not exciting for me anymore. It does feel like a chore. So I'm at this point. So what happens at this point? One thing that helps me out is I charge money for making videos. And if someone says they're going to pay me $150 to make a video, I'm much more motivated to do that because I know I can do a video, put it together in a day, and I will get $150. And that's $150 more than $0. And so that is one thing that's motivating for me. Other things that are motivating for me is finding ways to review products that is more exciting than it was before. And an example of that might be to do more comparison videos. Um, I know a lot of people don't like doing comparison videos because it's a lot of work. For me, I kind of do like doing it because it's just a different thing. It's something new for me. Another example is after I review certain things for so long, I start developing different ways I can do tests for these things to see how well they work. And I actually really like that. And that's something that makes it more exciting, or finding something that I could do more easily. So I guess the base answer to this would be to tweak something in a way where it's different enough that it's kind of exciting again. And it's hard. Like, it really is hard, but, for me, that's been what's been kinda working.
So exciting again is something that research tells us is a good solution to burnout. When we look at burnout generally, and of course I'm thinking about this in terms of teacher burnout, but if we think about this in marital relationship or in product reviews or whatever, the principles are the same. And often the advice, and we talked about this a little bit off air, often the advice that is given is indulge yourself, engage in self-care, which means take care of yourself, take care of your physical health, do something to get away, take a break, take a vacation or whatever. I'm really wary of giving that as advice because I think especially the rising generation, they don't need another reason to be self-indulgent. I think societally we're telling people hard work is no longer a thing anymore. You don't have to work hard. You don't have to be consistent. If you don't like it anymore, stop doing it. And I think that's a bunch of crap. I think that sometimes we do things even though we don't like it. However, what you said is important. Make it so you like it. And so there are things we can do to change things up and make them more exciting. I know a while ago I was feeling things were stagnant. And so I filmed a video with a different format where I kind of just had the phone and I had it follow around me in around in selfie mode, and I went to different locations and I'd pause between, and I'd think as I was walking I would think about the next thing to say, and then I would say it, but I'd be in a different place in a different position. And then I had these like really big jump cuts where it would change things up, and it was super fun and the result was pretty cool. It didn't go viral or anything, but it was something different that got things excited. um, I count down to Christmas every year. Christmas has never gotten boring for me. Well, how come Christmas has never been boring? Well, I know I'm going to open presents. I know I have rituals and traditions with my kids that they get excited about, so I'm involving other people, and it's a relationship kind of thing. We ha- we do things different. It's a break from the norm. And so what I often tell my teachers is, if you're counting down the days to the end of the week or the end of the semester, you need to replace that with counting down the days to your favorite lesson or your
Mm.
favorite activity or a classroom party, because you can control that. And if you have something that you're really good at teaching and you are really excited about it, in product reviews, we could say, count down the days to that big product review, getting that big sale, or doing something that maybe you already have at your house, but you never made a video for it, but the potential is off the chart. So spend a few days doing research instead of just filming stuff, so you could have something where you're like, oh man, if this hits, it's really going to hit. Like, this could be huge for me.
That's great advice. And the last thing that you talked about kind of triggered a thought that I have a lot, which is I save all your B-roll, because one thing that I've been doing is the more products I review, the more it's like it builds up, and it was like I've done, like dash cameras or webcams or air dusters. Like I've done like 20 reviews of all those things. I have some great data on that, and I can go back, use the B-roll that I've already done, and I could make a really cool YouTube video of that and be like, "Hey, I reviewed 20 air dusters. This is what you should look for. Here's the most powerful ones." On YouTube, you can talk about price. Amazon, you don't want to. I don't like talking about price a lot, but you can say, here's kind of the lower end, the best air duster. Here's kind of the mid tier best air duster. Here's kind of the higher end, and you can do stuff like that. So I think that's great advice. Make things different. Make something that you can look forward to. So going on to the next question, how do you deal with watching influencers make a lot more money than you while you're putting in just as much work?
Let me go first on this because you make more money than I do. So for me, and I don't want to seem ungrateful, I came into product reviews a lot later than McKay. After he asked me over and over and over again, what it took was I was unemployed for a period of time and I didn't have Christmas for my kids. And then I was like, McKay told me about this thing. I should try it to see if I can get something free for my kids for Christmas. And so I've always been kind of playing catch up in that way. By time I started, McKay had already had a few YouTube channels that were monetized and crushing. He'd been doing good on product reviews. And even today, you make a lot more money than I do. And I know I have other friends in this space that make a lot more money than I do. But I also recognize I'm in a different situation because I love my job. I'm as a school teacher. I have a full-time job. And outside of my job, I love my family. I have some great relationships. I'm involved with my church. I'm doing a lot of things, and this is something on the side. And the reason I'm giving you all that is because I think is it John Acuff, somebody who talks about goal setting, is said something to the effect, don't compare your beginning to someone else's end or someone else's middle. And we often get caught up in these comparisons where I'm like, man, McKay just made $20,000 in a month. I'm lucky to make $20,000 in a year. And I know I'm putting in the work. Well, I am putting in the work now, but I wasn't putting in that same work 7 years ago when McKay was putting in the work, right? And so I think we have to be really careful with comparisons. Part of the reason I do earnings reports and keep spreadsheets is I like to see what's working for me over an extended period of time, because I can compare myself. But even there, it's dangerous, because if I did all the same things at the same time, I'm going to get different results because the program changed, right? So Amazon has changed things and there's more people in the program. So even that's not a fair comparison. And so just bear all those things in mind. Can it be frustrating to see other influencers crush? Yes. Can that be an opportunity to learn from them? Yes. And I'm a reluctant learner, but I'm probably making a lot more money today because I asked McKay questions, because he's had more success than I have. And because for every 10 questions or things he gives me as advice, I follow one of those 10, and it's helped me out. Now, if I followed 9 of those 10, I'd probably make a lot more money, but I'd probably also be more stressed out and working harder. So there.
Yeah. So me thinking about this question, I think it's really easy to get jealous, in a variety of ways. Like just seeing someone making more money in general, it's like, "Oh, I wish I was making that much money." But a lot of times, you'll see a video that has the number one spot, and you made a video for the same product, and you're like, my video is better than their video. Why is their video up there? And I think it is really easy to get kind of frustrated or jealous. What I try to do is like when I find myself doing that, I just kind of segment myself out of everything and say, okay, just me alone, what I'm doing, how much I'm making, am I happy with that? And the reality is yes. So I shouldn't let someone else's success make me any less happy because I am really happy with where I am. I've set goals. I've worked really hard. I've got to a point where I am happy. And so I think that's one thing that helps me out. And then when I'm able to do that, I'm able to look at other people and go like, wow, good for them. Like that's awesome that they are having that success. I I can make that a goal for me. I can try to make a different video. I can try to research different products. So that's kind of what's helped me is just trying to take myself out of the pool, look at things individually, and just see, am I happy with how things are? Like, and even if I was making, you know, way less money than I like, if I go back to like 6 years ago when I wasn't hardly making any money, I was really happy with the amount of money I was making, and I shouldn't let anyone else's success take away from that.
Can I say one more thing just on that
Yeah,
same vein? I think as humans, we're really bad at being happy for other people. I think this starts as children. I see this with my children all the time, where often someone else's success means in their mind that they're failing. And so they can get really down in the dumps because they're not performing at the same level as someone else, whether it's athletics or academics or whatever. And as an adult, I find I'm often in the same situation. When someone else gets an award, I'm like, well, how come I didn't get that award? Or how come I
yeah,
didn't make that much money? And I think I'm really bad at that. But that's something that you can retrain yourself and relearn. I've really been working hard on that over the last few months. And even like when I go to church now, when after people teach a lesson or give a sermon, I almost always now will go up to that person after the meeting and thank them. And I'm trying to be happy for the growth that they experienced and what they were able to share instead of thinking about, could I do that better, or am I
mm,
deficient in this area? Whatever they're talking about, often I feel guilt, right? And so I'm like, I could do better in this. But I have found that simply going up to people after a class or after a sermon and thanking them and pointing out this is something I liked about it, it's always almost always led to a conversation with that person where we grow closer in our relationship. Even if it's a stranger, I get to know that person, and now I'm sharing in their success. And I, again, I think we could do a lot better at this as product reviewers. We could do better at this just as humans in general.
yeah. I think that is pretty great general advice. On to the next question. Is taking a break from the Amazon influencer program actually helpful, or does it just make it harder to get motivated again? This is a perfect question. I will answer this because, again, I am in this spot. I just got back from Asia. Our family was there for about 3 months, and when I went, I was very intentional, like, I don't wanna do any work, I don't wanna worry about things, so I did kinda keep up with emails and stuff like that, so I didn't lose contact, but I really did not do a lot of work other than a 2-week period when I came back home to get some things done, and I would say it's kinda hurt me, like, it's I lack the motivation to start up again. It's really easy to stop working, and it's really hard to start working again. So I think if I were to go back, um, eh, let's say I was forced to do a 3-month vacation again, I think I would probably try to take a few products with me or have some things that I could work on. I think it would have been a lot easier for me if I was doing maybe not as much work, less work, but still doing something so that I'm not quitting completely. I don't know if you've had an experience like that, Tyler, or not.
Well, it's interesting for me because the longest I've gone without posting a review is 2 weeks, since I started. So in the last 5 years, I've never gone, and it's really rare that I'll do nothing in a single week, right? So, 2 weeks once because we were out of the country, and that's the longest I've ever gone, and even on that, I did 2 product reviews. Um, However, what I can say, because this definitely applies to other parts of my life where I've kind of dropped the ball on things, like I have a YouTube channel that I created 6 years ago that is the most important YouTube channel to me personally. I have a why behind it. It's super important. And I make one video a year and they're crap videos. I just had never got the ball rolling on that. And part of it is because you like to see results, but also once you take a break, it's hard to start up again. And I think that just like with training for an athletic activity or something, if you stop for a while, it's harder to start. I know with health, for me, with weight loss, I've gone up and down. I lost 100 pounds at one point, and it was great. And I kept it off for several years, and then it slowly came back. But what I found is, however, um, fast I can gain weight, it takes me 3 times longer to lose
Mm,
that weight. So if
yeah.
I gain 5 pounds in a day, at a minimum, it's going to take me 3 days to lose those 5 pounds, which, and that's an exaggerated, it's hard to gain 5 pounds in a day, but you see what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, what I'm really grateful for is as society, we've actually created resets. We have the first day of the week, we have the first day of the month, we have the first day of the quarter. And for me, if I feel like I'm getting stagnant, I have no problem saying, I'm going to start fresh on Monday. I'm going to
Mm,
start fresh on
yeah.
August 1st. And I think that can be really healthy to just kind of reset.
Well, my takeaway from this is, I think you have a good point. There's always a place where you can start back up again, and then I think it's probably always better to slow down rather than stop completely if you can. I think that's great. Let's go on to the next one. Does setting an income goal make burnout worse? For example, does going from I want to make $5,000 a month to I need to make $10,000 a month ever become a trap? I'll let you start with this one.
I think the biggest factor here is why you're making the money. If it's your full-time income and you're supporting a family, that's different than this is play money, right?
Yeah.
And so it's a little bit different as far as making a trap. What I can say is when I got into the Amazon influencer program, it, it, it was a good time to get in. It wasn't as good as a year earlier. You know, that saying, the best time to plant a tea was 20 years ago. We all could have got in at a better time.
Yeah.
But in late 2022 and early 2023, like my second month in the program, I made $500. My third month, I made $1,500. My fourth month, I made over $2,000. And at that point, it was exciting. It was a game. And so I'd say, oh, I want to make $3,000 next month. I want to make $4,000 next month. And I set all these goals. And one of the things I'm really glad I did is we also set benchmarks where if I do that, here's the reward I get. And we would reward ourselves with activities or experiences as a family. We would rent a boat or we'd go on a hot air balloon ride. And I checked a lot of things off my bucket list. The funny thing is now, 4 or 5 years later, my bucket list is a lot shorter, and my desire to do all those things that I thought were amazing 5 years ago, like a dream week for me and McKay were just talking about this yesterday on our family chat. Last week was the best week of my summer because I worked all week and had no appointments. Like it was so nice to get into a routine. I still had carpool with the kids, but we weren't going to any summer camps. We weren't traveling to see family. It was just sit down, get your work done. And that's the reward at this point. And so I think a lot of this question, is it a trap? Well, if you need the money, you have to set up a sustainable way to do that because the program changes and you can't control everything. What you can control, and I think this applies to most content creation, is don't track how much money you make, track how many videos you upload, or track how much time you spend doing it, at least initially, and then some of those results will come. What do you think about that, McKay?
Well, I think a lot of this goes back, and you kind of talked about this. Care about what you can control and don't care so much about what you can't like a money goal is kind of okay, but I mean, a lot of that's out of your control. What's not out of your control is making a better video than the last video you made. Like, I would say that's a much better goal than a money goal. Or honestly, and I don't recommend people make videos for the sake of videos, but if you're in an area like where I am, where I'm not motivated, maybe that is a good goal. Maybe a good goal would be to say, hey, I want to do 10 videos this week. And then if I do that, then I feel that sense of accomplishment, and hopefully the money comes later. But I think it might be a little bit of a trap to make money goals, especially when Amazon changes things and it might be a lot harder to make money and you see money going down. That's just going to lead to just depression or discouragement. Whereas things you can control, like making an awesome video, or maybe making a goal saying, hey, I want a video to be, if someone searches for this on YouTube, my video is the first one that comes up. Like, that's a pretty good goal. Like, you can set the goal in your head, and then you can know what you can do, or you can try to accomplish it somehow. Whereas money, that's a really tricky one.
Yeah. Can I talk about momentum here? I
Yeah.
think one of the cool things with having goals for effort instead of outcome is that you can control that. You can control your, even if you make your best video. I just made a video that I spent 50 hours making for my channel, Chasing Junk, and it tanked. It got 150 views, but I'm really proud of it. And it's something that I can put in my portfolio and say, this is a video that represents the quality of work that I do, and I'm learning from it. I've spent this week analyzing how come other videos have popped up and that one hasn't, and a lot of it's the packaging because my click-through rate is horrible on that. And so I'm learning, what gets impressions on YouTube and stuff. But I'm now seeing this. My daughter, this summer, we've been working on a book together for 2 years. It's a fantasy book. She's 12, and she has such an imagination, and she's kept journals and written things down for forever and forever. And she just wasn't getting to the point where she was moving forward with this. And so we set a goal. We said, all right, let's spend a day together where we script this out, where we make an outline for the book, where we decide how many chapters, how long each chapter is going to be. And then we'll set some goals for how much content you'll create each day. So about a week ago, she had this all framed out, and she had ideas for the whole book, but she hadn't just sat down and knuckled down and got it done. And that first day was the hardest day, the first chapter, getting through it. And again, she's already kind of written the first chapter, but now it's getting ideas, sounding them off me. We use ChatGPT to sound as a sounding board, and it took a while. But by the end of the first day, she got that chapter done. On the next day, she got 2 chapters done. On the next day, she got 3 chapters done. And then she took a few days off for the weekend. And yesterday, she wrote 5 chapters, which is insane. It was like 70 pages or something like that. And she just did it all day, and she was loving it because she had this positive momentum and she had goals that she'd set for herself. Now, her outcome, she hasn't sold a single book, right? But she's building up to that, and she's excited about the process. And I think we can do that as product reviewers, getting a little bit better. We can't always control ranking, but we can learn from a video that didn't rank and see how to get
Yeah.
better next time.
Yeah, that's great. That's great advice. I think with product reviews, like, there are things you can get excited about. Like, if you do some research and you find a killer product, you know, that's a good goal to make a good video for that. What you can control rather than money. We've got one more question, and I think this is great. If you could go back to when you first started Amazon influencing or doing product reviews, what would you do differently to avoid burnout? Now, I'll talk about this first, just because I think I am in the area where I'm feeling a bit burnt out. But I've been doing this for about 10 years. I love doing product reviews. And it's probably this last year where it's just been like, man, this is kind of a chore. So if I could go back, one thing I think I would try to do better is be more intentional with my time and set aside specific time that I want to work on certain things, but also rewards for getting things done. A trap that I'm in right now is it's really easy to just go onto YouTube and watch YouTube videos and not work on product reviews. Um, but I think if I had a bit more structure and said between this time and this time I have to be doing this, like put it in the calendar, make it official, maybe some accountability, do it in a calendar with my wife or something. I think that would help. Um, what else would I do differently to avoid burnout? I don't know. Do you have any thoughts?
Well, I think there were two things you said that I absolutely would do. Put it on a calendar and have some kind of accountability. And you can have that accountability with another person, or you can build it in for yourself. Like, I want to do this thing, but I can't do it until I do this other
Yeah,
thing,
sure.
right? So we do that in life all the time. Doing that with product reviews, I think, is helpful. The one thing that I didn't do a lot early on that I wish I'd done more of was watch other people's videos.
Mm,
I think I
that's
could have
good.
learned a lot more. Learning a lot now as I watch people's videos, but I think and the reason this helps with burnout is I think I would have noticed that one, most people's videos are not very good. So I can do better videos than most people.
Yeah.
But then I can also learn from both the good and the bad videos and make my videos marginally better each time and track the impact of that. And so I do think keeping data has been really helpful. I did do that at the beginning, but I would have done it slightly different. Like one of the things that I wish I had done is not let myself check analytics like once a week. On Saturday, you can check for the week, but no checking every day. I think that became obsessive and
Mm,
hurt me. So I would have said I can check on Saturday if I've published 5 videos before Saturday and watched 5 videos before Saturday. Something like that.
interesting. Yeah. Yeah, this is kind of a hard one for me because yeah, I'm in the middle of it. I don't know if I would have changed a lot of things, so I've been pretty happy with what I've done. I have worked really hard in the past and I have had a lot of fun. Um, so maybe we'll have to do a follow-up, after I get back on track and I'm enjoying things again to see what I changed. But, it's always fun talking to you, Tyler. If you watching this have made it this far, I'm very impressed. Thanks for sticking with it. Let us know, how you're dealing with burnout or if you have any other questions about the Amazon Influencer Program. Uh it's always great to have an excuse to talk to Tyler. So, yep.
Well,
Yeah,
and can I point something out, McKay?
yeah,
Because we're talking about burnout, but we're making a video for a different platform that's not going to make us money.
yeah.
And often, I know our parents said this, but my wife's parents said it even more. A change is as good as a break. And I think
Mm.
sometimes it's just mixing things up a little bit. And I think even doing stuff like this helps us a little bit with that burnout.
That's true. I think that's a good point because for me, doing product reviews started as a hobby and now it's a job. And so this channel that this is posted on, this is kind of my new hobby, I guess. And I do enjoy it. And it is nice to have an excuse to talk to you. So I think that's great. Change is good. Do something different, just to have fun. But this is a long video. So thanks for sticking around. Talk to you later.